It helps when a teacher has practical experience and not simply theoretical experience. And even in some like college courses, you take chemistry, then you go to a chemistry lab. And sometimes the way people learn is the hard way because they made mistakes. There are times, for example, I hear people speaking about spiritual warfare. And when I hear about the warfare that they have been through, it pales in comparison to what others have been through. And I'm like, you may have some experiences, but not quite like another person. Experience gives us, practical experience gives us things that enriches the teachings. And that's why some people are called to teach specialized things, because the Lord has given them ample experience in that. It's not simply about like studying the Bible. The story of Jonah. It was prophetic in how Jonah was in the belly of the whale or the fish for 3 days. The Lord said that so he would be, and then he'd be raised from the dead. So there's a prophetic sign regarding how to appointed Jesus. But imagine me, someone who I've never been in the belly of a fish or whale. I've never had to live in there for 3 days. Imagine me telling you what that'd be like or how Jonah came out looking. The thing is, I don't know. But if Jonah were to give that description, his experiences, his teachings would be much richer than someone who's never had those experiences. And it's not to disqualify a person from teaching about things that they have no practical experience in. They can still do it. But also, if I, as a teacher, don't have practical experience in certain things, I can still give wise advice. Wisdom comes from God, and He gives it. But there are certain things, if I know someone's more experienced in an area, in some cases, I just keep my mouth shut and may just defer you. Hey, go see so-and-so or look at so-and-so because that person has some experiences. And then there are things that I have more experiences than other people. And again, we can learn the hard or the easy way. And even look at how the Lord used Moses and Joshua. Moses had spent 40 years in the wilderness. So in a sense, he had the field craft, knowing what it took to survive. He led livestock in the wilderness. And the Lord translated that to use him, Moses, to lead the Israelites through the wilderness for 40 years. Moses had not been to the promised land. The thing is, Joshua had. He was one of the 12 spies who went to the promised land for 40 days. He had experience in the promised land. And the Lord used him, Joshua, with his experiences in the promised land to lead the Israelites to possess the promised land. So experience, it makes a difference. Experience, it makes a big difference. For example, a person can go to a seminary and learn about the languages of the Bible, Hebrew, Greek, and to a lesser extent, Aramaic. But no matter how much they learn, in a sense, it's different from someone who grew up speaking Hebrew, someone who grew up speaking Greek, and to a lesser degree, Aramaic. The experiences make things richer. Because a person who learned, for example, those languages in his seminary, they learn what others teach them. And they don't have a lot of practical experience. And it's not the same as someone who grows up speaking those languages. And yes, I know people can grow up speaking a language and they don't speak it perfectly. That's why even a person in an English-speaking country still goes to school to learn English. So again, experiences matter. And in some cases, there are teachers who are teaching on things, and it would be best if they deferred those teachings to another. But also be careful about being judgmental. There are some people teaching about marriage, and maybe they've never been married. But it doesn't mean they will have experience with certain things. Maybe the person teaching about marriage has been divorced, and the divorce was a result of mainly his or her fault. And as a result of those mistakes, the person can teach about what to do and also based on the things what not to do. So experience, it makes a big difference. We also have to be careful that we're not using our minimal experience to tear down someone who has even more experience. And I defer to spiritual warfare. I've heard some people speak about spiritual warfare and make it seem so easy. Oh, just use your authority in God or do this or do that. And a lot of times they don't hear him speaking. Some people's warfare is going to be more difficult because the Lord is allowing it. That's a part of that person's process. And using your authority is not simply a matter of raising your voice. You can fast and pray for 100 days and may not break what you're going through. It is said, experience is a cruel but effective teacher. The Lord told the Apostle Peter that Satan had requested to sift him as wheat, but he had prayed that his faith would fail him, and when he's converted, to strengthen his brothers. Experience is a difference maker. Based on experiences, we can strengthen our brothers and sisters in Christ. So yes, experience makes a big difference. Practical experience as opposed to theoretical experience. God bless you, and Jesus Christ is Lord. As I was signing off, I was reminded of medical school. Doctors go to medical school, but then some specialize. Cardiology, otolaryngology, ophthalmology. So they specialize. So even though they went to medical school, many specialize. So even though they have the experience, the general experience of medical school, the specialization gives them a greater level of expertise. And a person who's a general practitioner can do a lot of things. But there are certain things that that person would recommend or refer a patient to a specialist. And in the body of Christ, some people are specialists because of their experiences. So please, if you're one who's a general practitioner, don't start acting as if you are supposed to do everything. And if you are like a cardiologist, be careful about telling the proctologist or the podiatrist how he or she should be doing stuff. Yes, you have knowledge of that stuff, but the person has more practical experience than you. So again, God bless you, and Jesus Christ is Lord.